I wanted to share with you my very favorite recipe for making pie crust, and I use this crust recipe for savory and sweet dishes. I would use this for my apple pie recipe. I would use it for a chicken pot pie recipe, which is what I'm doing tonight. I'm going to make it Moravian style, which is something that's specific maybe to my area. I'm from North Carolina, and we're gonna make the pie crust from scratch. It's super easy. You just need a few ingredients. You need flour, you need butter, water, and salt, and that's in your hands, and that's it. You probably could use forks or something like that, but I think your good old-fashioned hands work the best. So what I'm going to start with, I have 2 1/4 cups of flour right here, and then I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It calls for a whole teaspoon, the original recipe that's been passed down in my family, but I really like watching the amount of salt, and I also think you can really taste it if you're not careful. So I use 1/2 teaspoon, and sometimes I leave it out altogether. So just play with it and see which way you like better. So I add that. And then I go ahead and it's a 1.5 sticks of butter. And I dump it right in. Put it away. And then this is where your good old hands come into play. And I know I've seen some crust recipes where they use chilled butter. I use room temperature softened butter because, like I said, I use my hands and I squish it up. So you just kind of get in there and you just start squishing, and hopefully you can see that. And you do that until the butter is mixed in and it's kind of the consistency of a pea, and you will see that. So I also know, and I kind of just scrunch it with my fingers like that, just to kind of get all of the butter mixed in as much as possible. You kind of see that? The other thing, then what you do, you can add up to 7 tablespoons of water. I add 5 standard, no doubt. From that point on, you'll want to do it tablespoon by tablespoon. 5 might work for you, so start with 5, like I said, and then see. What I have, I usually end up doing 6. But I have my other tablespoon there, I have added 5, and then I just kind of get down and dirty with it. Because I think it's just more fun to touch and play with your food. I think it just feels better knowing exactly what you're eating. Like I said, this method is not for those who don't want to get messy. Okay, now you can see when you look at this, it's not all clumped together like a ball, and you can still see a lot of loose flour. So that tells me I need to add another tablespoon, and that's it. And it's close to dinner time, so you will hear my family for sure. And if you've watched previous videos of mine, you know my family is a part of everything I do. So, you're going to hear them. Okay. That looks about right. And I don't mind it being a little sticky for the reason I throw, maybe a bit sticky, I throw a bunch of flour down. So it's going to be absorbing some flour as we go. Let's see. I don't mind a big mess, apparently. You'll see that all in big. way, get all off your fingers. And then I just knead it a couple of times. This is also great if you're doing little tiny, I guess, fritters, what you call them. I forgot to pull out my rolling pin. I use I know they have all kinds of fancy ones. I like the old-fashioned wooden one, and then I just take the flour and rub it on there. Now, one other thing I do is I break, this is enough for 2 shells, so I break it roughly in half. And I will be making pies tonight because one of our neighbors is in need. So they will be getting a chicken pot pie tonight, and we will be getting a chicken pot pie. So that way you can kind of batch cook. And then as you see, once it starts getting a little sticky, you just add more flour. So that's the nice thing about having lots of flour. And what I kind of try to do is I kind of try to do it in a quarter like this. So you can see, put that together, make that a little bit more even. It kind of makes a nice circle that way. You change directions a lot. And I have found pie shell is pretty forgiving. You just kind of mush it back together. Let's see. Then, which is good because that tore on me. Move this over here. And then I just kind of unroll like that. Hopefully I made it big enough. I always kind of wing it. And then, you see where I have this tear? I just smush, and real rustic, like my pie's rustic. And I kind of, there we go. And then I just tear off some of the edges, like this. And I fill in where I may need it. You can help me with the next crust. How about that? All right, why don't you go play with your brother, and I'll call you when it's ready.
All right.
Sound good? All right. So not too bad. And then what I do is I add that. So the next one, I'm gonna take my next pie thing. See, you need quite a bit of flour, in my opinion. I don't know. There's probably some experts out there that would argue with me, but I like a lot of flour down there. I've used my pastry shell. And now this one I will use for top, because chicken pot pie takes 2 pie shells. And I will show you how I fix the insides for chicken pot pie. So it's sort of 2 recipes in one for you. And that is, looks to be, yep, big enough. And now let me get the chicken part, and I will show you how it's. Okay, we're back. Now I'm going to show you how I do the filling. I've already finished one pie, and I've shredded all the chicken for that. What I did was I bought a big pack of chicken today. It was on sale, so yay for that. And I cooked, and I had 4 chicken breasts, and I trimmed the chicken breasts to get away all of the fat and things like that, and very pretty. And then I boiled it for around 30 minutes on the stove, just water. You can throw garlic and salt and pepper and get fancy with it if you want, but just boil it first, cook it. And then what I like to do is I like to shred the chicken with 2 forks. I think it makes, especially if you're kind of running out of the stuff, it makes it go further. So that's what I do. And I've already shredded 3 of the breasts, and I'll show you just how quick, although you've probably seen lots of people shred chicken before, how to do it. On the off chance you haven't. And I think, what is this? I should have looked. I think I gave the neighbor the 2 big pieces, and they have the smaller pie. Because I bought a store-bought pie holder, so they wouldn't have to bother returning it or worry about any of that nonsense. So they can just throw away the container once they have used it. Hopefully they're chicken pot pie eaters. But you can see how this is a really quick meal that you can put together, because you saw me do the whole crust. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, that's super fast, and it tastes so much better than that store-bought pie crust. I'm not saying I never use it, but you saw how quick that was. I mean, that's super quick. And then you just, this one probably could have used a third breasted chicken, but it is what it is. We'll have a big salad to go along with it. And that is the thing with a lot of chicken pot pies, you get a lot of vegetables in them sometimes. Like I said, this is the Moravian style. They don't have vegetables in the Moravian style, but you could add peas and carrots and all kinds, whatever vegetable you really like. And then so I put 2 breasts of shredded chicken in there. And then I go really super easy and cheat, and I get a can of cream of chicken, and I put that in a bowl with half a can of water, cook it for 2 minutes. That's why I'm going to have to use this, and then use that for my filling. Ouch, hot, hot. Hold on, pumpkin, this is hot.
What's this, Mama?
It's ink.
For my light book?
So then you can see I just spread it around there. Then I take my last. And if you don't have a nice deep thing like this, I put the little silver, whatever this is, the disposable one on this pan before I filled it, because it's not as firm. You know, this isn't moving. So then I didn't risk spilling anything. That up. And that little trick I did right there, you've probably seen it, but if you haven't, that makes moving pie crust super easy without the risk of it tearing quite so badly. You can see I got to figure out something to do with this pie crust. I hate for it to go to waste. It's a shame. And then I don't get too fancy, to be honest. I just scrunch the 2 shells together. Scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. And then I take one of the forks. I make somewhat of a pretty design, I guess. But you could certainly get very creative with this. I've seen some people put like little pretty leaves made out of pie crust and things like that. You know, I am only so creative, I'm afraid to say. I do sometimes for like pumpkin pies, I might take a little bit of the excess, and I have a pumpkin shaped cookie cutter, and so I'll do a little pumpkin shape, and I'll put it on top of the pumpkin pie. My kids really like it. It's kind of fun. Let's see if I make it. And I forgot, so quick, to do the fork maneuver over here. And then what I do is I bake it. So I'll look at this one. for anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. Just watch it. Just see, you'll know when crust is done. It'll have a nice pretty brown on the top. And you want pretty brown, because you want it to be pretty, right? And so that's it. I just put this straight into the oven and pull it out when it's done, 30, 40 minutes. Okay, this has cooked. It cooked for about 40 minutes. And it can range anywhere from 30 to 40. But that looks pretty right to me. It's got a nice little brown sheen. And you know, one thing you can do if you really want to make it look sparkly and nice and you want to make it look special, and I didn't think about it just now, was you could take a little bit of egg wash and coat the top and make it a little bit shinier. But that's it. The meal's ready, and my family and I will be sitting down now in a few minutes to eat. So, hope that helped. It's a fun recipe. It's a super easy crust to make. Give it a try. I'll list the actual recipe down below in the about. So when you look, I know I've had people ask me about this in other videos. When you're looking at the video page, you'll see down here, there's share, comment, and there's a little tab that says about. If you click the about, it'll pull down and you'll see the recipe there. So check that out. That's where the recipe will be listed. So there you go. That's my super easy, 4 ingredient crust recipe and my chicken pot pie recipe thrown in just for extra kicks and giggles. Hope you're having a great week. This is Christina from Racing and Saving Mama. If you would like to see other recipes, you can check my YouTube channel. I've got several there, and you are always welcome to come to my Facebook page, Racing and Saving Mama. So it'd be facebook.com /Racing and Saving Mama. But of course the links will be down below. Have a